Right. I thought we could. I did do a quite a long thing we wanted to go through. Apologies, Stephen Lane. We haven't got Stephen, have we? No.
No.
Stephen Lane, Chrissy McIntyre, Jenny Leeson, Colin Mitch, Penny Grant, Jenny Allen. Okay, I haven't said anyone who's not there, who's here rather. Yeah. Facebook. To begin with, the charity members are up to 78. So we're doing okay. We really want to get it to about 100, but money's okay. So I'll get to that in a little while. The Facebook, we're up to 889. So that has gone really well.
Oh, yeah.
And thanks to Janice Skilton, she's been helping me with that, which is brilliant. She does take a lot off my shoulders with her Facebook, so that has helped. We haven't got Matt today, have we? Not as yet.
No, he's not on at the moment.
No. Matt is getting on well with the books. Brian has done the database, which is now added. So we haven't got the book club as we had it with a password entry. It's open to everyone to have a look, which Brian really is happy with. And I think that works better like that. And there's less work because Gillian hasn't got to keep putting the passwords in and everything. That was a completely different database. Now, Louise Reynolds has been in touch, and she'd like to donate her book, Down to Bedrock, about her father, Eric Cordinley. She said she'd do a paperback or a hard book, and I've asked her to hold on to it, and when we draw it, she'll sign it and send it off.
Oh, well.
Which Sec did, which is a nice little touch.
Mm.
She's quite happy with that. I've also got Annabelle Venning. She's now a member, and she sent me her book, To War with the Walkers.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. Yep.
Okay. And she sent me that to put in the drawer. That's another nice one. So that's another book. And Mike Nellis has sent me his 2 books.
Yep.
Okay. To put in the drawer. He'd like them done together. So that's book 1 and book 2. So I'd like to try and get some of these books done from my end, if it's okay with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So the next 2, the next 2 or 3, I've got 3 lots here, including Louise. So I'd like to try and get them done, and I know we have still got Martin's, because Martin said you would do one, didn't you, Martin?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so Martin is doing one as well. So we have got 4 months of books that Matt hasn't got. So then we'll leave Matt to next year to do all his books.
Mm.
Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah, makes sense.
I was hoping Matt was here so we could chat to Matt. But anyway, right, so let me just get... Right, I'll go through Gillian's books first, quickly, because, I mean, we don't want to dwell on it too much. The bank balance is... the bank balance is 1,534.23p. So we're okay with money. I mean, money isn't a problem. Her expenses were £33 postage. Wreaths and stationery, but we didn't do any wreaths this year, so the stationery was £84.19. The software and internet. Now, again, software, I don't charge for software, so it's just the internet. So the internet expenses, which is the cost of putting the websites on, was £725.91, but that did include Blue Jeans. And Blue Jeans, and I have Find My Past. So that did include that. So the total outgoings this year were £843. Okay, so you can see the bank balance is quite healthy. We don't, as we just cover the web costs. It's not. We're okay. We're okay with the bank balance. So that's Gillian's figures. Right, pins. I won't go through all the pins, because I mean we've still got a lot of pins in stock. We took in subs. We took in last year 1,440, 44p. Pins we took in £47.96. Donations, which was quite healthy actually, £176.67. So thank everyone for donating if you're watching this video. And the total in was 1,665. Why our bank balance is a little higher is because we carried forward £712 from the year before. Okay, so that's why our bank balance is 1,534. So that's that. Pins, I won't go through everything, but she's listed all the pins we have, but that's not much. We had, last year at this time, we had 49 members. 3 members did not renew. 1 member died, who I did let everyone know when he died. So we've got 32 new members this year. So in total, we've got 77 members to date. Okay. 3 members are not paid as of yet. 5 members paid for 2 years. 1 member paid for 4 years. 1 member paid for 7 years, 200 quid. And that's it. Okay, so that's Gillian's bookwork. She's good at bookwork. So that's Gillian's bookwork. There's a lot more there, but I won't go through all that. That's it. Right, where are we? Oh yeah, suggestions. Timed this now to put forward what we're going to. I think the best thing we can do before we do that is do the things I noted 1 to 6, because that will give us more of an idea of where we're going to go with the committee. So the first question is, where does the Feeple family go from here? Open to everyone.
It's a good question, Ronnie.
Yeah.
So I think there's a number of society or a number of clubs ask themselves that question.
Yeah. The way I see it, we're not like Cafeeple. We are web orientated, so we rely on the web to get across the message and to answer questions. So the web is our main point of sale, if you like. So I think we're doing okay as we are. Leave Cafeeple to do their piece, because they're doing more of a physical piece than we do. We do more of a web orientated. So
well, I think probably a little more, to be honest, Ronnie. You're probably a little more because of your guidance, and there's a couple of us here that do it. Martin certainly, Ray, Kevin. You're more research based.
Yeah.
Now, COFIPO do get inquiries. Yes, they get inquiries normally when it comes in with a membership form or otherwise that they deal with. But yeah, whether COFIPO at some time will go to web-based, I don't know, and I have to be honest. At this moment in time, I doubt it.
No, I
So
think
we
they've
can
got,
certainly work in tandem rather than
yeah.
work in splendid
I
isolation.
think at the moment that's working quite well that
Yep.
way.
Yep.
Because you know, I love doing web pages. I love doing databases. I love getting information on the net. So that's really what we started it for. The FIBO family, we started to back me to get web pages on. It has developed a little more since then. Well, a lot more since then, but
A little more, yeah, right.
but I think that's working okay that way. Is everyone in agreement, or anyone wants to put anything forward on that?
No,
Yeah.
I think it works okay. I mean, what I would say to you, Ronnie, is I know you're doing the civilians. At some time, hopefully, FIPO would like to do a database, and we're talking about duplicating work here, for British and Commonwealth civilians that would display on a wall in the FIPO building, because civilians are not represented, and they should be.
Yeah, well, this is something we can put to the committee, and if the committee does agree, the members agree, we can go with COFIPO on that,
Yes.
because my database is I'm now up to the end of the H's.
Yep.
And I'm up to about 8,000. So I think it's going to be about 25,000.
Yeah, I think it's about 28,000 Ron Bridges' book count mentioned, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So
but
it's-
I think it's going to be about half of the FIPO list, which is 58,000. So 25,000, I think, would be just roughly about the size of it. It does include Australians, Canadians, South Africans, Maltese.
Commonwealth. Yeah, Commonwealth.
Maltese.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is quite a good database. It is based on Ron Bridges' list.
Yep.
So that is based on his list, so that is quite thorough. And I have put on the website, thanks to Ron Bridges, because that is a really good database. And I wouldn't have been able to put it together the way he has. He put a lot of work into that. Right, so that's the first question. Now,
Ronnie?
Yeah.
Can I just toss something in there, Ronnie?
Yeah, go on.
Yes, Walter. I remember, the thing that actually kicked off FIPO Family was kind of when you had a sort of dodgy health spell a few years ago, wasn't it? And, we were all, I think, concerned to make sure that, all the good work you'd done didn't just disappear. In a way, a bit like what seems to be happening now with the, the Burma Star organisation. And indeed, I think there's someone posted something about their website shutting down soon. And I think one of the things we should think about at some stage, is whether there's a way in which we can maybe, find someone who's got, a similar gifting and inclination to yourself, just so we've got someone standing in reserve if anything, heaven forbid, does happen to you. We're all getting older.
Yeah, I've given that a lot of thought, Walter, and for me to teach somebody the NetFusion, I've been doing it now since I started using NetFusion in 1990, and I've increased it as we've gone along with the different ones that come out. So we're now up to 15, I think, version 15. For me to teach somebody would take me a lot of time, and I've got so much I want to finish before my lights go out. So I think at the moment I would say that the domain name is there, the websites are there. When anything happens to me, which it will, the websites will stay as they are, But as we have the domain, I think within the domain, within the websites, another part could be added for a person to take over. So what I've done stays there, and we have another folder, if you like, or another entry within the Feeple family, which covers the new person taken over.
Yeah.
Then they're taken over, they can use what web writing program they like, and that can be included within the Feeple family. So the bit I've done, to be honest, for me to teach somebody Web Fusion...
No, I wasn't suggesting you try and do that, Ronnie.
Yeah.
I wasn't suggesting you
It'll
try
take
and
me
do that.
too long. And I don't think a lot of people use NetFusion.
But I'm just thinking of practical stuff like, you know, if and when something does happen, you know, is something documented somewhere, you know, with the passwords and everything, and, you know, with instructions for Gillian to pass on?
Yeah, that is all taken care of, so that's not a problem. So the person can
just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, so the person can get into the Feeple family, and they could put up a different first page, but then they'd lead on to another piece. And what I could do in the meantime is within the Feeple family put another folder within underneath the Feeple family, so people can go into that and add new stuff. Okay.
Yep.
So that can be done, but I think what I've done should be left as it is, because if somebody starts to try and do things with what I've done, they're going to completely ruin it, because my databases are in a place in my computer.
Yeah, no, I'm not suggesting we make changes to what you've done.
No, so my web pages go to my databases to load, okay? And they'd get it in a mess, because if they tried to do something with that, they'd lose all my database.
Ooh, no.
Right, so I think it's best if we say my bit is left as it is, and then the person who does take it over eventually would put in a different file and do their stuff from there. Okay, so on the Feeple family, we'd have a place to go to for the new stuff. Is that okay with everyone?
I guess my question comes back to what you've just said there, Ronnie. Who will do that?
Can I just say, I think that what Walter's trying to get at is that we need a safeguarding thing whereby, should anything happen, that everything is safe and doesn't get lost.
The thing is,
too valuable.
Yeah, that's valuable, but that won't be lost because it's there. You're paying to keep it there.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything happens to me, it's still going to be there because you'll just be paying the yearly figures to keep it there. So it won't be lost.
Yeah, it's safeguarding the access to it.
It's not on my computer. It's not on my computer. It's on the hosting computer, which you lot are paying for. So you've got to get the two in perspective. My information on my computer makes the pages. The pages are on the web hosting, which you pay for, which will stay there when anything happens to me.
And someone else has access to that web hosting.
That's it. They'd have.
Who is that?
No, I'm not getting involved with that. That's the same as when I did the Feeple website, and Carol Cooper got somebody else to take it over. That was up to her. She did it. So there's people out there will write pages. When anything happens to me, get someone. But I'm not getting involved with that. I'm writing web
Ronnie,
pages.
just to can I just say that obviously my younger brother James, he lives in he is in Beijing at the moment, but he that's what he does for a living. He does advertising in web pages and stuff. He's done web pages for me, so I might be able to persuade him to help with that in the future if needs be, because he's very good at it and he's very quick at it, and I think given his link he would do it.
Yeah, for a start, Sophie, why don't you have a word with him? I'll set up a folder which he can get into, and then he can put on some information in that folder to get used to how to do it. So that's a start. Okay, so that won't interfere with what I've done.
Okay.
He'll be putting in another web page within the Feeple family, which I can put a link to it on the first page, and then if he starts doing something, do an article to put on, at least you've started it. Okay, so then you know where you're going.
Yeah, because I can put him in touch with you. And obviously he does have the benefit of youth as well. Yeah. So on that.
Yeah. No, so that is a way forward now. So yeah, if you can try and get that ask him if he'd like to do it.
I'll have a chat with him, and hopefully he'd see that something worthwhile doing.
And then I'll get together with him and I'll sort out a folder within the Feeple family which new stuff can be added to. All right. So that's a start. Right, the next thing I put down was how to educate internet browsers about Feeple Far East in World War II. So VJ Day is recognised as August the 15th. I think we've had this come up before and we've talked about it, and how I look at it is you can't push the general public into recognising VJ Day. What you've got to do is educate them by giving more information on the web, which is now the thing to use. It's not books is not so much now. It's more the internet, because they'll do a search on the internet and come up with the information. So I think we're doing our bit to educate by putting more and more material on the web, which people will then find and realise what happened in World War II and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so is there anything anyone wants to add to that? No?
Nope.
Right, so I think we've had this come out before. I think this petition they had, my understanding was you can't push people into recognising VJ Day. You've got to educate them into recognising VJ Day and educate them by them knowing what VJ Day is about. And the only way you're going to do that is to put more information on the net. Okay? So that's my idea. Right, so we'll get...
I don't think that's the only way, Ronnie. I don't think that's the only way. It's assuming that people have enough interest in the first place to go on the web and find out about VJ Day. Perhaps it starts at a younger age with school children and things like that, to try and get them to talk to their parents, grandparents, great-grandparents about the war and all aspects of the war, really, but, FEPO in particular. So
I think what you were doing up in Stockport, is it, Ray, with that education thing, that's a marvellous thing, and a really good way to go.
It has taken off, this this initiative, and in fact, I think it's the 15th of October. We're going into one school in Stockport. We're taking some veterans and widows of veterans to talk about the Second World War. But also what we're now realising is, because sadly our veterans are no longer with us or not well enough to go into schools, that it's children of veterans like myself who are going to take over. So at this presentation on the 15th, I'm going to be giving a quick resume of my father's Normandy and D-Day experiences to try and, generate the interest for the children there, and taking his medals and paraphernalia and so on, so they can. And we know there's going to be interest because we've seen how enthusiastic these kids get. We've also doing I did say DVD, but that's probably old technology now. We're producing a movie that will go online so that schools can access this with sound clips of veterans, photos of the Normandy campaign, etc. And there's no reason why we can't do that for FIPOs. I'm doing this. This project is being led by somebody else, and I'm just helping them. But together, before the end of the year, we're going to draw up a template so that any other group or individuals who might be interested in following the same idea can get a starter for 10. You know, this is how we went about it, and this is how we get success. But I've forgotten what I was going to say about
that. That sounds excellent, Ray, because I know CoFIPO tried a school thing a year or two back, and I think it was less developed and didn't really get much traction. So I think that could be something, you know, that could be taken on by others.
Yeah.
Walter, the key thing about that CoFIPO initiative was that it was relying on individuals like ourselves to go to the schools.
Yeah.
In the Stockport area, there's 120 secondary schools. There's no way on earth that one individual can go to all of the schools. So what do? We get the schools to come to us. Simple. And that's been great. We've got about I'm talking off figures off the top of my head now, but there's at least 20 of those schools that have taken up the initiative and integrated our scheme into their school curriculum. It's got the full backing of the education authorities.
Very good.
And it, you know, we've got a 5-year program on this, so hopefully, as long as the curriculum stands up to the way it is today, then this is ongoing for another 5 years, and hopefully, and one individual school girl, a teenager, has actually won a prize with the entry that she submitted to our initiative. It was passed on to Spirit of Normandy Trust, a national competition, and she's won a prize, and that's all, you know, before really the whole thing has got started. So it is a success, and I think that's something we could perhaps look at either as a group.
Yeah.
I mean, we got how many people on here now? 9 people. 8 or 9 different education authorities. You know, that could be 1,000 schools that could be contacted. You know, if there's 200 in each school, that's a lot of school kids that could get involved.
Well, our total membership on the charity side is 77. So I think we ought to think about this for the new year. And later on, I'm saying, what do we do about a working committee, if you like? So Ray, education.
Minister for.
Would you be interested in not going around to the kids, but getting it organised? If we got in touch with the 77 members, or take it further and get in touch with our Facebook members and ask who would be willing to be part of it, and then get some names on paper for a person to run it, Ray, then it could be organised.
Well, I'm heavily committed towards the Stockport Normandy Veterans Project, so you know I've got to put that first.
But you wouldn't have to go around and do it. It's just getting it
supplying
together.
The template, really, if you like, and then other people pick it up, including. To be honest with you, Ray, CoFIPO could do with that as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Give that another.
So we could that could be a joint venture, Keith.
Yes, it could.
Yeah.
It could well be.
So, and I'm sure somewhere amongst our organisations there must be, out of that 77, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 of those people have got some kind of direct link with education. Because that's really what you want. You want people who've got the dual connection already.
That's the key, Walter. Yes, you know that's where. Luckily, Linda, who's the founder of this project, she has an education background at a sort of administration level, quite a high level, So she already had the contacts and know what to say and who to say it to. That's quite important.
Absolutely, and I think that kind of stuff actually make sure that goes into the template.
But I think what you've just hit on it, that there's only 77 members of this group. COFEPO have got over 1,000 members, so that would be a greater way of doing it countrywide, because 77 of us aren't going to cover everywhere in the country, whereas COFEPO, if we could link with them, I think we stand a good chance, because after all, it isn't for the praise of the group, it's for the praise of the FEPOs and spreading their story, and we want to get it as far as possible. So I think, Keith, if you feel as well that maybe COFEPO could join with the FEPO charity and spread that, then that would be even better. We get more coverage.
I see no reason why not. It will be two organisations working together.
Good. Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, that's what you are. No, I'm very much for this, Ronnie. And I think as the COFEPO hierarchy changes, so they too are very much in joint projects.
Yeah.
That has changed this last few years. Keith.
Oh, it's still evolving as well, mate. Don't worry.
Yeah. Can I just say? Can I add in that when we're on about this, I mean, what came from the petition was wider spread knowledge, I think, and an involvement of the media, particularly, say, in the Midlands, where we had the BBC Midlands News doing interviews, which Keith did one of those. I managed to duck out of it and get Ron Mockford, our FEPO, doing it, because that made much more sense to have Ron doing it. But I also think we've got to acknowledge that there's the exhibition opening on the very soon at the end of this month.
Yes. Yep.
So hopefully a lot of things. So we mustn't lose the opportunity while that's running. If we do set up this project of getting, I'm sure Meg and Professor Gill and all their team would be only too happy for us, because education is their main thing.
Yep.
And they would be more than happy for us to perhaps step in a little bit and use them to advertise this, because hopefully schools will visit that exhibition. Okay, it may be one different aspect of the FEPO history, but it's a damn good way of advertising what happened out there. And when they see those pictures, they're as good as photographs of what was happening to those people. So maybe we could sidestep a bit into their exhibition and use that to buy
Meg has been working with one of the schools.
Yeah.
They've actually done one of the exhibits.
Well, they've done the A-level courses, which is brilliant. That's the way it should be. These children shouldn't just be asked perhaps to use their imagination on projects. Maybe they can look back at things that have happened and then evolve that into their A-level courses, their design and technology courses. Because these were men who from nothing made these amazing ways of doing medical procedures, just introducing ways of sanitation, all that sort of thing. And there's an awful lot of basic, good common sense to be learnt from what those FEPOs did and achieved in the direst of situations, as you all know.
And the hope of getting, and how they coped with the hope of getting home.
Yeah,
that's the major thing. I mean, the strength they had to get home.
Yeah,
that's the major thing. But what I can do with this is, I think the bit we've just been talking about is very interesting, and I think I could cut this piece out and put it in the FEPO Family General Facebook, if everyone agrees. The whole video will go out to the charity, of course, so that's not a problem. But I think this ought to go out on the FEPO Family General Facebook page, and maybe a link on the FEPO community, which Meg is still a member of. As we heard the other day, Keith, she got in touch again. It was nice to hear from her, actually. She get in touch now and again, but that was she was one of the major contributors to the Feeple community. So I think maybe we can make this a general thing and try and get more people interested in it, and let's start snowballing it.
Yeah. Before we get too carried away, though, I must add that one important thing is that this costs money, and we've been lucky because we've managed to raise almost £5,000 to back this project. And we've done it in a little bit of style. We had a grand launch at at Stockport Town Hall, and that cost money. We did advertising, we did leaflets, we did banners for local schools. To sort of add some kind of background and colour to it. And the movie that we're making, before we finish, that's going to cost over £1,000 to have it done properly. We've had a logo design, we've developed the website, so these things need to be considered. It's not just a question of individuals going, somebody in Colchester going to Colchester High School thinking this can be done, fairly easily. It does take money.
I think when if you remember, Keith, we did the gathering in 2006. I got in touch with the Yarmouth Council and said what we were going to do, and they supplied us with a room free of charge, biscuits free of charge, a cup of tea free of charge. I'm sure we can do it on a budget. I'm sure it can be done on a budget if we got in touch. Say I'm Norfolk, so say we did it in Norfolk, we'd get a room in Norfolk where we could ask the schools if they could send someone to that hall on a certain date, and we were doing blah blah blah, and send out a good intro to the schools so they know what it's all about, and see what happens. I'm sure we can do it on a budget, and we've got a professional video chap.
Who's
Kevin.
Kevin.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, I'm sure we could do some, but anyway, we'll talk about that in the new
Can
year.
I just add something else on that? I mean, I really do take on what Ray said in terms of, I would endorse doing it properly with a decent sized budget. To pick up on a couple of things from earlier, that when Meg came up with the idea of a Southampton repatriation memorial, myself and Bob Hucklesby got involved in that. We did some interviews for the local newspaper about my dad, about him, and that appeal raised 5,000 or whatever it was that was needed for that Southampton memorial. The last few years, we've actually had a bunch of, we connected with a local school that is nearby. It's actually a junior school, so young kids. And, for about 3-4 years now, maybe, a teacher has been coming along with about 5 or 6 kids. Last year, I found out a week beforehand, she was bringing the whole year group. We had 50 kids there. David Breed came along. At that time, I think he'd just taken over as secretary at Kofi Po. He's now taken over as the acting guy replacing Paul. So, and David is planning to come again this year. So, I think, there's a real awareness, I think, amongst a lot of the organisations of the need to kind of pass on the baton, and how do we do that? How do we do the education? I'm really keen, I think, to sort of, not try and reinvent the wheel, but to learn from, how Ray has done it. So, you've got a lot on your plate, Ray, and I don't expect to see it tomorrow, but when you do get a time, it would be interesting to have a look at that template.
Yeah, but I think, can we say we'll leave this to the new year? Ray, can you give it a lot of thought, how we can go about it, and how we can get other people interested in it, including Kofipo, and Keith have a word with the Kofipo and see if we can combine with Kofipo and do something. And this actually takes me on to what I suggested to Keith a long time ago, Keith, that the Feeple family could be a website addition to Kofipo. because that's the way we tend to go, web. And I know they've got a portal which they include all the sites. So Cofipo have got a portal and they've got all the sites on it, which we run, which is good. But maybe we can get it a little more closer, Keith.
Right.
So I don't mind sharing information as long as we are mentioned.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Definitely.
I don't want to share information that Cofipo have done it. If I'm doing a database, which is, I mean, you know, the Fipo family one took me about, the Fipo POW one took me about 8 months.
Yeah.
8 months to get together, and that's still
credit where credit's due. Sorry,
well,
credit where credit's due.
Yeah, but that's going to keep going when I finish the internet, when I finish the internees, because the internees aren't really going to have a follow-up. They're going to be a straightforward database with the information on. The only follow-up might be to add more Q files of, you know, so that we've got their occupation, blah, 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 and their ages. But that will come later. I want to get this internment thing done so people can see where so-and-so was in China or whatever. That surprised me. I didn't realise China had so many internees.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They got twice as many as Singapore.
This is one of the things on the dome in the building. Whereas it was, Ron Bruce said to me, he said, I did tell Carol Cooper there were quite a number of camps in China, but that sort of went.
Yeah, there's loads.
There are.
I mean,
yeah.
I've actually, I started putting, you know, like Singapore, China. I started Burma. I started listing them all and putting the Fipos on the internees underneath. So there's another page within it, so you can look at the camps to see actually who was in the camps with them, right? Not just in the names, which I have done on a separate one, so they can look up who was in the camps with them. And I got to a stage, China after C was up to 2,500, just up to C. So you can see that's about a quarter of the way, so we're now talking about 10,000 odd.
Yeah.
So I had to split the page. So I had to split it into camps in the end. So I couldn't just leave it under China. I had to split it into the different camps. It got too big, and the same with Singapore. That got a bit big. But anyway, I think we're on the right lines with getting more involved with Cofipo and using both our knowledge, because Cofipo are more, the place they're built is brilliant, you know, it's more buildings, it's more solid things, we're more web, all right? And books, of course, because got Martin and Ray writing their books and so on, Louise. So we have got people who write books, but mainly we're web orientated. So I think we can.
Can I just raise one other issue?
Yeah, go on.
As I mentioned earlier, I noticed this thing on the Facebook page about the Burma Star website shutting down. And I mean, I've never even visited it. I don't know anything about Burma. It's not been my area of interest. And I don't know what's on that website. But I would assume there is probably some very valuable and useful stuff on there. Keith, I don't know whether you know. But, you know, I'm just wondering whether, if there is there anything that can be done to actually preserve it?
Matt is the one really to get involved with that, because he's very, very involved with that.
That's right. It's very Burma, isn't it?
So really, Matt would be the one we could really approach about Burma. What he told me about this a long time ago. So what I've been doing is I've been adding little bits that I add in the Fipo family to the Burma site, so they actually know where we are. And we have had a few of them join. So we could do with Matt Matt has got loads and loads of information on Burma. I mean, if you ask him anything, he knows exactly what you're talking about. He's very good on Burma. So I think really Matt could be the solid thing in trying to do something to get information off the Burma site and add it to the Feeple family or whatever. So, yeah, so we'll talk to Matt about that if that's all right.
Because I don't know whether that is the official Burma Star site. I honestly don't know. So I'd have to have a look. I haven't heard from the official Burma Star site now for close on, got to be a good 6 to 9 months. Because I usually somebody will go to Burma Star and say, my father was on the Burma Railway, hence going to Burma. And they would say, well, sorry, it's not really us. And they'd put them in touch with me. And then it wasn't a great flow, but it was a number of inquiries.
Trickle.
A trickle. That has just, there's nothing now.
Yeah,
I think Matt would know more about that as well.
Yeah, I found I got the same thing, Keith. I was getting a trickle, but then Matt was given more information. So Matt is the one. I mean, I know a bit about Burma because, I did write about Koima a long time ago, but I don't know what Matt knows. Matt is quite keen on it. So Matt, if you're watching this, Matt, we want you to get involved about the Burma Star. Right, anyway, we'll get past that. What role is the Feeple family to take in the future? We've already mentioned.
It's 11 hours.
So I don't think we want to go into that. Is that okay? We've said what role should we play. I think we should get more involved with Feeple and let them use our information as long as we're mentioned.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Where credit's due.
Yeah. Right. How can we move forward as a group adding to the website information? We've actually covered that. So Sophie is going to have a word with her brother. Are you there, Sophie? I can't see you. Are you there?
I
Sophie?
am, yeah. I was just on mute because Liam was shouting in the background.
Yeah. Right. So Sophie, have a word with your brother, and we'll try. I'll try and get together with him, and we'll try and sort out another folder.
I will do.
within
I will
the
do.
Feeple family,
Yeah.
which he can then expand to where he wants to go. Right? In just one folder, he can expand from there. As long as you get the top folder, then you can go down from there.
Can I just, on that point, Ronnie, can I just throw something in that we have been talking about, what happens when we're no longer here as individuals. I just wonder, we all have a lot of information, lots of research information, a lot of books, lots of files on computers and so forth that let's use me as an example. When I'm no longer here and I've passed away, what's going to happen to all my books and research stuff and files on computers and things like that? I think it's something we should all give a thought to and make some kind of provision so that our families, when they're sort of going through the house and chucking things in the bin and going to charity shops and so forth, that they know what to do with our precious information on FEPOs. Just a thought. As a former will writer, I do have these thoughts in my head quite constantly.
Yeah, right. Next point we've got is how can we unite other Feeple organisations so projects are not duplicated? We've just talked about that, haven't we, Keith?
Yep.
So I think we've covered that. Has anything got anything to add on that?
I think I spoke to Leslie Clark of Java Club, and we were talking, and she said, there will come a time, sadly, when there are no widows and no FEPOs, and then they have to look at how the club will continue and in what form it will continue. Now, I don't think the Java Club are alone in that.
No.
And it is very, very interesting. I mean, I think it was Patrick Toosey suggested once that all the clubs should amalgamate, and that met with a great no, thank you. Some of us do welfare and all the rest of it. We're quite happy as we are. But I think in time,
I think in time, Keith, they'll have to amalgamate because you aren't going to have so many people in the different organisations. So you're going to have I think one organisation that will pull everything together.
Yep.
And then that might be something that we look at, Ray, with our stuff we've got. I mean, I've got loads of books.
Yeah, join the club.
My children aren't really interested to a degree. They'll talk about Grandad. They'll come to the memorial with me every August the 15th, but they don't really want to know. My sister does, my older sister, because she was born just before Dad went away, so she wants to know, but she don't like reading my books because she gets so depressed reading them. So anyway, so I think what we want to do is think of the future and where we're going to go with all the stuff we've got, and add a piece in our will, really, that, I mean, I'm going to donate everything I've got to the Feeple family. So that's where my computer's going. That's where all my books are going, and all my stuff. I mean, the other day, Keith, you know, I was in touch with Roger Mansell quite a bit because he pushed me into doing the Java Index. This is about 2000. Yeah, 2000. He pushed me into doing the Java Index because, what's her name?
Anthea Beckett.
Yeah, Beckett.
Anthea Beckett.
Anthea Beckett died, and she had about 3,000 names, and he said, "Oh, we want to keep them," and so he actually downloaded all her pages for me as separate pages. So he sent them to me and said, "Can you do something with this, Ron?" And that's how I came up with the Java Index. So the other Java Index ended up with 33,000 names in the end. It took me 12 years. Something that annoys me, Keith, and Leslie Clark is okay. She's okay. But when I talk, of course, you know, Brian Greene died. He used to give me encouragement. He didn't help me, but he gave me encouragement.
Yep.
And he died, and I said, well, I'm going to leave it for a little while. So I got in touch with the Java Club and told them I was going to leave it for a little while. And I got a really funny email back saying,
"Yeah, you did. I remember seeing it."
You're letting the Java POWs down. I thought, well, I've given you 12 years. My dad wasn't even in Java. And I never did get an apology. And they never mentioned me, even in their book, they never mentioned the Java Index, which annoys me because it took me 12 years. Anyway, getting away from that.
Can I just add? I mean, this thing about, you know, unifying the different groups. I mean, I know this is something that's been very much on Bob Hucklesby's heart over the years. I mean, I've only known him since I first met Keith. I met you back in 2012. I mean, that was when I really sort of started finding out about my own dad's history. And I got to know Bob at that meeting that you first got me along to up in Liverpool. And I know that I had the privilege one time being with Bob. I think it was when he met with Patrick Toosey, and they were talking about this issue about, you know, kind of unifying the groups. And it's certainly something I think that, you know, I mean, I will feed back to him today's discussion because I know he will be very happy to hear the thinking that is going on. So, I do hope we can move something like that. The other thing that I had to chuckle about when you said that Roger Mansell sent you all those pages and told you to do something. I think I said to Bob the other day, you know, when I helped him sort of, you know, get and Meg get the Southampton Memorial set up, I didn't realise how good he was at roping people in to do things. I now organise the annual ceremony there each autumn, thanks to Bob. So these things you have to be careful before you say a quick yes.
I'm good at pulling people in, aren't I, Barbara?
Yes, certainly are.
I'm good at pulling people in to do things, but on the other hand, you know, I was talking about Roger Mansell, and what I meant to add to that was I was going through all my CDs looking for something. Now I can't remember what I was looking for, but I was looking for something, and I was going through all my CDs, which people do send me. They send me loads of information over the years, and I came across one from Roger, and I opened it up, and he's got about 250 files he sent me, which I was ill at the time, and that's when I had pleurisy, and just before he died, and he sent me this CD, and I haven't gone through it, and there's honestly loads and loads of files, and they're not just simple files, they're files within files. So I've got that to go through. And one of the things that caught my eye was an American thing about the airmen that were executed by the Japanese. And that really did catch my eye, because he's actually listed all the American airmen that were actually executed by the Japanese, and that's quite gory in places. But anyway, we'll get off that.
Can I make a suggestion on what you could do with that, Ron?
Polite ones, please.
No,
ladies present.
That's not as good as toilet paper.
No. I was going to suggest you could create a new area on the FIPO family website. For
that could be something for Sophie, for your brother.
Well, I that was my first thought, but then I thought that wouldn't be fair. That would be dropping him at the deep end. But you know, if there's stuff that you genuinely just haven't even gone through, you know, if you had a few trusted researchers who had access to that, whose job was simply to go through it and add meaningful titles or something like that. Just a thought.
To be honest, he sent me completed spreadsheet information indexes. So he's done it all. And all that's got to be done really is put on the web.
Wow.
So really the spreadsheets are there to be done, and that wouldn't take me long to put them on using NetFusion, because NetFusion will I can program it to go to the spreadsheet, get the information and put per page. So a 250 page index, say these American airmen, I could do that within half an hour, and that'd be on the web. So NetFusion is so good that way, but the difficult bit is building the database. Doing the web pages isn't so bad. It's people look at it and think like the website for the FIPO for the Far East Prisoners of War. I've got over 58,000 pages. Each FIPO has got a page. But that didn't take me very long. What took me the long time was writing the database. That's what took me the 8 months. The writing the pages weren't as bad, because NetFusion does it for you. Near enough. You have to program it, of course, but it doesn't. Anyway, let's get off that.
That would sound a good project, actually, though, for someone else coming on board. Maybe
I think
maybe you are right.
Yeah, I think Sophie, what I could do is don't send him the whole thing, but send him something that's important to us, British, which we could add to a folder which I can put on for him, so he starts.
if he's interested.
If he's interested.
Yeah, he can just help on the. He's just so good at it and so quick at it, and obviously he's got the direct link, you know, through our dad. That he'd probably be quite useful, and I'd imagine that he would agree to that.
Oh, we got Liam.
Liam's here.
I can see Liam's here.
See Liam. Liam, do you want to say hello? No, he's run off now.
Right.
He's been busy shouting in the background.
The next point I think we've covered, because the next point I put down was, could a more united FIPO front be possible, or is this a naive situation with the present organisations? I think that's something we've talked about, Keith, and I think
Yeah,
we've got the
something to
ball
work
on
on.
these lines.
Yeah,
I
because I'll
think
probably
so.
drop you a mail and ask for your ideas, and then I'll put something together
Yeah.
to give to the trustees.
Yeah. So I think we've covered all the points I put down there.
Just to
And I'm
toss
happy
one
with
other
that.
thing in on that, if I may. Keith, I see you're interested in this visit to Singapore and Thai Burma next year.
Mhm.
I don't know whether other people are aware of it, but I mean that's organised by NEFRA, who
Yep.
obviously do focus on the FIPOs and their widows. I mean, it might be worth us, trying to have some discussions, while people are out there, in terms of the involvement in NEFRA moving forward as the FIPOs and widows disappear. What do you think, Keith?
That is the one area that I actually wonder, once the FIPOs and widows have gone, will NEFRA need to exist? I don't mean that unkindly.
No,
unkindly,
but it would be a loss. It would be a loss if we lost some of those people from the community.
And the information would be a loss, because they have got loads and loads of information, which really we've got to collate. We've got to get it together. And this is what we were saying, Keith. If we could get a more united front and try and get, like, I'm going to leave my computer, my books. Where do I leave them? We'll leave them to a FIPO family, which are part of blah, blah, blah. So everyone gets the benefit. I mean, I've been doing databases and everything since about 1990. I started doing the databases, not reading about it because that started in the 60s, but putting it together for the web. And all that information. I am getting older, and my memory isn't nowhere near as good as it used to be, and all my information really is in files on the computer and in my books. I don't want them lost.
No.
I don't want the information lost. I want it there for the future, and this is what you lot are helping me with. Keeping it live for the future. So anyway, let's get past that. So we've done all the points. Now we get to election. Now we're not electing people today because it's got to be left to all the members, the 77 members. So what I'll do is I'll put the video on so people hear what we've been talking about, and also send an email out to everyone explaining who has been put forward. Is anyone want anyone else put forward? Okay. And we've been talking about the future. Now we're all getting on the same age, except some of the younger ones like Martin and which annoys me.
And Sophie.
and Sophie and
Liam.
Barbara.
No,
Liam.
Keith.
But we want someone to take in what we're talking about and what we're doing and take it forward to the future. Okay. Now, someone I'd like to propose would be Sophie, because Sophie is our youngest child of a FIPO at the moment. All right, and I think Sophie would be a good person to have on the committee as, say, vice chairman. Keith, are you happy with that?
Yep. Yes, indeed.
And then Sophie can be more involved in how we do things. I get in touch quite a bit with Sophie, so the secretary bit she'll understand what I'm talking about, and the treasurer at the moment as bookwork. So Gillian isn't really FIPO orientated, although she comes to me to the remembrances and everything. Her dad was D-Day. He drove a tank, so she isn't really interested in the FIPO side. So treasurer isn't too bad a thing to get somebody to do, because they don't have to be part of the FIPO setup. Okay, they can just be a treasurer. Secretary, yes, you need someone who really wants to get involved. So chairperson, I propose Sophie. Gillian has seconded Sophie, if that's okay with everyone. She's treasurer.
Yep.
All right. So I think Sophie is a good one to have on the committee. Does everyone agree with that?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does Sophie agree with that?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I do. So I'm not quite sure exactly what I'd have to do, but obviously.
No, well, what I'd like you to do, Sophie, is
be happy
get
to help.
more involved in how we do things, and get involved more with Keith. So Keith, Keith is the chairperson, but really we're not like Cathedral. It's not as deep as Cathedral. Mm-hmm. So really I think we want more of a working party. At the moment, I tend to do most of it. And I think as I'm getting older, my head is going round and round at the moment because I'm trying to do this internment thing, and I'm trying to do other things, and I'm never going to get everything done. I've got loads and loads of emails I haven't answered and pages I haven't put on for people, which have got to be done. So I think really we've got to have more of a working party. Okay. And so Sophie, yes, and another person I'd like to put forward would be Janice Skilton. Janice helps me with the people family, so she's very involved with that, and I think that would be good for her to be on a committee, so eventually take over running the People Family Facebook page. Okay? Right. So I'm trying to get other people to do things. All right. So when anything happens to me, I call it lights out, Walter. When my lights go out, I'd like us to carry on a level, so we know what we're doing. Okay.
Well, let's put it this way, Ronnie. Recently, my mishap.
Yeah.
Brought a whole load of stuff home to me. It really did. One, I'm not invulnerable. One, I'm not invincible. And now I've got an alarm I wear around my neck, because if that had happened when I was at home, nobody would know. I live on my own.
Yeah.
So I know exactly where you're coming from. I don't intend my lights going out for quite some considerable time yet, but I just want to get this sorted so I can go back to Q.
Yeah. Well, to give you some idea, I ordered an UPS for myself to keep myself going when my lights go out. Anyway, but anyway, we'll get off that. This is why we started the People Family, because I lay in my hospital bed, and I honestly didn't think I was coming out. And I lay there thinking all the information I've got together will be lost if anything happens to me, because the sites would just close down. And that was such a waste of years and time spent and information for other people. And the same with you, Keith. You've got loads and loads of information like me. And
get it online, get it on sites.
We want it down.
Can I ask a question? Can I just ask a question? And I'm asking it for a very good reason. You were talking about the Americans who were captured by the Japanese and executed. So if they were captured, would you regard them as POWs?
Well, they didn't receive an index card, so I would say no. They were active. They were killed in action.
Ah, right. Okay.
I would have said they were active. I wouldn't say they were POWs. I would say a POW got a Japanese index card, got a number. Okay, that's like when you go to prison, you just get a number. You're a number on a list. So I wouldn't say they were.
So I've got a similar thing to do with the Fleet Air Arm, because some of the men that were actually POWs were freed or were executed a long time after they were taken prisoner, like the Palembang 9. Their names are not on the wall in the building, and they should be.
Yeah, there should be.
It's grey areas like that.
I think what happened with the Americans, there was a big thing, Belaley, that the Americans shot down Japanese parachutists. They shot at Japanese parachutists. So the Japanese started doing it. So they were shooting at parachutists, and then it developed from there.
Yeah.
So they started executing them.
Mm.
So it started on Belaley, really. Well, that area really about the time of Belaley, when things turned a bit. The same in Germany. I mean, who would have thought you would raid villages? They blamed us for doing it to begin with, and we blamed them. But that escalates, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what happened with the Japanese, and they were killing the American airmen. I mean, that got that bad. Anyway, I wouldn't say, and I wouldn't say that was just the Japanese who did it, because we did it as well, and so did the Americans.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so we've established that if we do get to doing something about education, Ray, we'd need a person for each county, I would have thought. So we'd need a person for Suffolk, Norfolk, or say East Anglia or whatever.
Keep it simple to start with. That would be too big a committee. We wouldn't find the people.
No, well, I've got somebody who would do it, but I wouldn't do it because I've got.
I think that will make a great project to actually.
Yeah, I think that would be good
as a catalyst for unity amongst the organisations.
Yeah. I mean, Barbara Birmingham, of course.
It's a small challenge, yeah.
Ronnie, could I just say that I don't think we should think about a structure, because this depends on individuals. If we start looking at a structure, we'll end up like a pyramid, with counties and then towns, and it won't work. But if we get at individuals, like say each one of us here, then it's up to them to go to their local education authority if they want to, and start the ball rolling. I think it's working from the bottom up rather than the top down. That's where it failed with COFIPO. They started working at the top, working from the top down. It doesn't work like that. You've got to get to the grassroots, which is the children, and the children belong to the school.
But on the other hand, Ray, if you're going to do, say, schools in, say, Norfolk, I'll go to Norfolk because that's my county. If we're going to do schools in Norfolk, you wouldn't want 5 or 6 people trying to do the same thing. You'd want something organised.
You'd have that problem.
You're going to have that problem anyway. I mean, it's what I say. It's the individuals in the area where they live. I live in. Well, I don't live in Stockport, but this started in Stockport, and you start with Stockport schools, and that's the area. You can only contain it in that sort of small area. So if you get 5 people living in Norfolk, you get one to look at Kings Lynn Education Authority, one to look at Norwich, and do it that way.
But again, you'd want somebody doing the structure within Norfolk, because otherwise you're not going to have. That's not going to work. So you'd want somebody saying, are you going to go to so-and-so? Are you going to go to so-and-so? So you would need somebody doing the structure within a county or wherever, an area, whatever you want to say. Anyway, I'll leave that to you to discuss, and we'll discuss that at a future meeting, Ray. But I think what I'll do is I'll cut out of the video the piece we talked about earlier, when we were talking about the education piece, and I'll put that on the Facebook normal page, so it generates some interest. Are we okay with that?
Yeah.
Right. So I've gone through most of the stuff I had, I think. I've gone through that. If anyone can propose chairperson, of course, I'll keep to Keith. If I propose Keith, anyone second it?
I'll second it.
Deadly silence.
I'll second Keith.
Secretary, no one's proposed me, so I'll leave it to you. If you want somebody else, that's up to you.
No, you can do it. I'm happy to propose you, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
I'll second
And
that.
seconded. No one seconded it.
Who's
I
got a
raised
second
my
one?
hand.
Right.
I'll second
So right. Treasurer Gillian. I propose Gillian.
No,
She
that's
does a good
fine.
job.
Yep.
She keeps out of this bit. She just does the treasury bit, and she's good at it. She worked in the bank. She worked at the county court. She's good at what she does. This is something I really want to get sorted, and it's the video meeting organizer. Now, at the moment, Keith has my account.
Guys, sorry to interrupt. I'm really going to have to go, regrettably. I'll catch up with you again soon. So sorry to cut out, but I really need to go.
Right.
It's been quite a long
Barbara.
meeting. Yeah. See you Tuesday, Keith.
Yeah, you
Bye,
can watch the
everybody.
video. Yeah, see you, Barbara.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Right. It's just video meeting organizer. Me and Keith do it at the moment, but I think, Keith, we need somebody else
Yep.
who can do it. Somebody who goes to most of the meetings and is okay to organize it. Now, the only thing needed to organise the meeting would be the full email list, which I get off Gillian every month. Of course, that goes up, so I get it off Gillian and send out. And the dates. That's really all that's needed to organise the meeting. And anything that people want to put forward, to put in the what we want to do at the meeting. So thinking about it, I'm not going to say now who does it, but can we think about it and maybe have some names who'd like to do it, put on the charity pages, so we've got somebody who's willing to do the organising. The only thing that I would say is to start the record. If me and Keith aren't at the meetings, someone's got to start the record. Now, to do that, you have to be a Blue Jeans member, and that's 90 odd quid a year. So do we just use like me and Keith use, we both use the same account, or do we pay the 90 odd pound for somebody else to do it as a backup, Keith, or organise it and we're there if that person isn't there? So it's something we've got to think about, Keith.
Yeah.
So can we think about that, please?
Yep.
And also, website manager, I'll put myself forward because that's my job. That's my job. So we're okay with everything put forward. Sorry it's taken so long going through all this and we haven't talked about anything else. But if we think about what we talked about, there's certain names that I would say put forward. Martin for organising the meetings. Martin, but he is in Australia. Not too difficult, Martin, but you come to most of the meetings. And Kevin. Kevin could organise the meetings. Sophie, but I want Sophie really to get more involved in how the thing works. Okay. So anyway, we haven't got. So can we all think about Ray, of course, but Ray is. I'm trying to get him on education, so I don't want to push too much on Ray. Anyway,
I'm not around as much, so. Anyway,
but
yeah,
it's been a good meeting. Is there anything anyone else want to put forward?
No, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Next month's books. I'll do Mike's.
Right.
Is that okay with everyone?
Yep.
I'll ask Matt to do Mike's. I've got them here, so they'll come from me. And then the month after, I think month after, can we do Louise?
Yeah.
Well, she was
Yeah.
really keen on getting her book on, really keen on giving the book to her, and so if we do Louise, next month's book, this month's book is for September, no, for October, aren't we?
October, yeah.
Yeah, so next month will be September. Louisa's be December.
Yep.
So Louise will do December. Is that okay with everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and Martin, New Year, Martin. I don't
Yeah,
know
sure,
how we're
yeah.
going to do. I don't know how we're going to do your book because I'd like you to sign it to the person who wins it. But how
Yep,
do we go
yep.
about that? How do we go
Well,
about
I'm in the UK in about 2 or 3 weeks anyway, so I'll be able to get a book to you then.
Yeah. You could put best wishes in it, couldn't you? You
Yep,
just put
yep.
best wishes.
Yeah.
So that'd be a nice little touch. Anyway, so anything else anyone wants to bring up at the meeting?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, Ronnie, if Gillian just sends me that information for this month's book draw,
Yeah,
I'll sort that out.
yeah. She'll send you the address, and like Matt, I'd ask you to send Gillian the price of the postage, and she'll reimburse you with the postage. She does that for Matt. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, well, we want to keep. We have got the money there if you want to use it. Okay, for the postage. Anyone else brought anything else up?
Just to
No?
say thank you for putting up with occasional visitors rather than regulars.
No. Well, it's nice to see you online. So some members we don't see, like Janice. I mean, I put Janice's name forward because she does help me with the Facebook.
Yeah, she's great.
And she's a major. She is very good at it. I mean, if anyone puts their name down to join, she don't just join them. She goes into their website to see if they've got anything about FIPO, and she sends them. Because we've got some questions. Have you got anyone who is in a FIPO, or have you got anyone in the Far East? We've got that on for them to join. If they haven't filled that in, she'll send them a message saying, we want to know, and she'll ask them again, and if they don't, she'll take them off. She won't join them. She's ever so good. I wouldn't like to get on the wrong side of her. Anyway,
thanks for this morning. It's been really appreciated and good to be part again.
That is nice to see you again, Walter. If we can see more of you, because you always come up with something we've got to answer, so it's good.
Oh, I can usually think of something to say.
Have you tried the new index, the search index?
No, I don't think I have.
Well, you're the one who made me do it.
I think you probably read more into what I was saying than I meant.
That's right at the top of the page now. So if you go if you put a name within the search,
actually, I think I did try. I think I did try it when you first notified
find all
me
the
of it,
pages of that person within all the files. So they haven't got
I have tried it. Now you say it. Yeah.
It works. It works. I'm chuffed with that. I was chuffed with that. Anyway, it's been a good meeting. Thanks for everyone for attending. Sorry I went on a bit. I'm now going to sit down and finish off my H's. The I's won't be too much. So I might do the I's today.
The I's have it.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks everyone. Sorry,
Okay.
Bernard, we didn't get to you. I did send you a message on your birthday. Did you burn anything down with your candles? No. Now, the belated birthday greetings, though. But well done, mate. You reached a nice age. 82.
Yeah.
Is that 82?
Oh, well done. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. So well done, mate. And I'll get the next meeting, and then next meeting we will elect the committee. Okay, and because we've talked about it, we've got some names down, so we will elect the committee.
19th, isn't it?
20th. How does the 20th grab everyone?
Yeah,
Oh, no,
Sunday.
That's a Sunday. No, we better do it on a Saturday because we've got to give the Saturday people who go to church on a Sunday a chance, Keith.
Yeah, that's the 19th.
Yeah, 19th. So is everyone okay with the 19th?
Yeah, I should be. Yeah.
Yeah, please. And then the next one after that will be the 3rd of September.
Hope not.
November. November. Sorry, my brain is going. I'm still writing my internies. Yeah, so that will be the 3rd of November. Okay. So
yep.
19th and 3rd. If you make a note. Okay, everyone.
Yep.
That's fine.
My voice is gone. I'm going to go and get a beer and finish off my internies. Well done, everyone. And see you all again later.
Okay. Cheers.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Ronnie. Thanks, everybody. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.